Welcome to the Uneven Line podcast. We are so excited for this episode. We are here with someone that I've considered a hero in my life, someone I've looked up to for years, probably one of the greatest men that I know. I'm here with my dad and my granddad, two people that I've looked up to my whole life, and it's so good to be here. I'm excited to be able to get to finally do this podcast episode, and you're our first guest that we've ever had. So, yeah, it's been exciting.
Well, we're glad to be here.
Yeah.
Well, and my hero too. So there you go. So
yeah. Hey, I think, and though I sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable when people kind of draw attention to me, but I may do this to you right now, but I would say a lot of people look up to you, and I only ever hear good things about you when I tell people you're my granddad. So I'm so excited to hear some stories today, kind of talk about the life of raising a Scott Kelly and also growing in the Lord, and just hearing the stories and the hunting outdoor stories that you got. So let's kick it off. Dad, you got anything you want to say before we get started?
Well, I'll just say this. We did name this fella after you.
Right.
And
I consider it an honor.
well, and so it's
and my son.
His son.
Yeah.
Yes.
My son, his middle name is my name's Stephen Thomas, but I go by Tommy, and Judah is Judah Thomas. So
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
4 generations.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
right.
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Well,
So today, I kind of want to dive into. So we are in Pawpaw's workshop. We've talked about it before on the podcast. My friends have heard me talk about it. I don't know anybody that is as good as working with lumber and making and thinking up of an idea and bringing it to life than you. We've got so many things. Like let's go ahead and pull out some of the toys that we got made. So this. You want to hold that pawpaw for him? Just kind of hold it in the middle. So that right there is the me and Johnny, my brother. We loved Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone. And Dad would always you walk into Cracker Barrel or you walk into a store and Dad, and Mom, they didn't really. They weren't too keen on buying those expensive guns, so Papa said, "You know what? I think I can build one of those." So he made both me and Johnny a gun. So there's not too much Papa can't build. So what was your thought whenever you're making this? We were talking about it before we got started.
Well, I thought that as young as y'all were, you weren't ready for a true rifle.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, well, maybe I can just scrounge around here, and there's parts off of here. There's the trigger guard is a PVC clamp, and just little things that I had in the shop, and had plenty of wood, and I said, well, let's just make them a rifle.
Yeah.
And
oh, that's cool. And if you'll notice, both the rifles, you had that rabbit ear that was made out of a coat rack, looks like
right.
the piece, and they broke both of those. I think they were,
well,
they were shooting too fast.
They don't actually cock. Yeah,
Well,
I don't know if you realize that or
I
not.
guess.
Yeah, but I can take that from you. So the if you notice, this one has a crack in it.
Oh, that was broke off. I had to glue it back on.
Me and Johnny were rough, okay? And so, like, in the movies, you see a lot of times where the good guys and the bad guys, or whichever one, they'll break a gun over the back of someone's back or whatever. And I kind of think that's what that was about.
Probably so.
probably one of you.
Probably someone caught a stock to the back of the head probably one day. So what got you into woodworking? I've never even heard a story of even how you even got into it.
Well, I worked at the power plant for 31 years, and that occupied a lot of my time. Raising boys occupied a lot of my time. Mm-hmm. And I just, started with simple things, and I didn't have a lot of tools to do the work with. And God blessed me with a good job that I could afford to start buying stuff to do this kind of work. And it made you feel good, not being bragging, but to step back and look at something that you made with your hands and say, wow, I can do this for my kids and my grandkids. And,
Even when I used to coon hunt years ago, he would the great thing I'll say, my brother was into sports and he played football. And Dad was so supportive. We'd go to every game. make sure he was at practice.
Right.
But the same thing, I used to love to coon hunt, and so he would bring home traps that you would make out of old crates from the power plant. Right. And I think back in them days, like on the night shift, you could build stuff out there,
Yeah.
So, but he had these real cool traps. We actually, remember the one we caught right beside the old house where I caught that moccasin? Caught a moccasin in it, Tommy. I mean, a big old cottonmouth. It had a drop door, so it landed on the moccasin's back. Mm-hmm. We left him in there for like a month. Went back out there, the joker's still alive.
Listen, that just reminded me of a story I want y'all to tell. I don't know who, and I don't know if we surely we could tell it because it was done in a public setting.
Yeah.
Who was it? You or was it you that caught all the little baby alligators?
Oh, that was
Royal Rangers.
It was just right down here. Yes.
Who was that?
This is past we've already found out it's past the statute of limitations, so we're good.
Oh yeah.
So my grandpa Pitts, is that the way it went? He found the nest just right. I'm talking about just 200 yards right down there.
Right.
And so we come up here and open it up.
Uh-huh.
And how many we get, Dad?
30 eggs.
So how did it work out?
Well, we simulated a nest on our property and had it contained so that when they did hatch out, they couldn't get away. And little by little, they started hatching out. And out of the 30 eggs, 14 alligators hatched out.
Goodness.
And I thought, well, what am I going to do with all these alligators?
Uh-huh.
And they weren't but about a foot long. And so I was working with 5 and 6 year old boys in our church at that time. So I put some alligators in the ice chest and carried them to church one Wednesday night. And I gave each of the boys in my class a baby alligator. And
I mean, the Bio George and the name of our group, like you had a motto or a mascot, and it was the Bio George Gators is what it was.
Yeah.
So it was kind of perfect.
So you gave a bunch of little boys swamp puppies is what you did.
That's exactly
they got
what he
some swamp
did.
well,
puppies.
I wanted them to feel like they were a part of it.
Yeah, all they were.
But the moms were not a part of it.
No, they weren't.
And when
it wasn't a
church-
puppy or nothing.
When the church was over, a lot of moms were coming back to me and said, "My son cannot have this. We can't have a gator in our home." And so I said, "Okay, give them back." So eventually, the ones that gave them back, I turned them loose in Deer Point Lake, and I think that's where some of these 12-foot alligators in Deer Point Lake
it's him.
came
It's
from.
up to him. We put seed in the lake.
Right.
Did you? My question is did any moms keep? Did any kids keep the alligators?
Hey, look, man.
I don't know what they did with them when they left the church.
I don't
So not
understand.
everybody returned the alligator.
Everybody's got a bathtub, so they got somewhere to keep him.
That's right. Yeah, just throw a little bit of sand in the bottom, or just kind of
They just put the plug in. You don't even have to do nothing.
Just
put
give the
plug
gator the bathroom. Is what I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put a
that
bubble
would
bath
be
and
it.
have a blast.
Yeah, my goodness.
And at the time, we had no idea that you shouldn't have had them, and so
Yeah.
we got rid of them.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny. So, so you got into woodworking. You just and so you built traps for Dad a lot. And so did y'all catch anything in the traps?
Caught coons
Oh
like
yeah,
crazy.
we got a lot of coons, and
Yeah.
possums.
Oh yeah.
Never got an armadillo to go in one though.
Yeah.
Right. Them armadillos are everywhere still.
Armadillo.
Yeah. That's what I heard an old man call it one time. I can't help myself. I
Yeah.
call him armadillo.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a lot of credit. I think I've got a lot of I give a lot of credit to both you, my dad, and maybe even a little bit of my mom's dad. I never really hung around him. I hung around you the most, so I give you the most credit. So I would say I do a lot of woodworking. I've built turkey calls. I got into that for a while. The church utilizes my skill sets a lot. It wasn't long ago I helped build a foyer, did the foyer project. So we closed in an entire walk-in breezeway and turned it into a functioning foyer. I built some what we call modesty rails for pianos and an organ that we have and so I've definitely the skill set has definitely helped me out.
Show
over
them the
years.
beginning of your skills, your first project.
Oh,
over
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull that. Yeah. Grab it. So Dad explained to y'all kind of go through it. What went on? Like, hold it up high to where they can see it. Just kind of give
that right there that's Sparky. Well, you could probably just set him on the table.
Yeah,
they could see him. You could set him right there on the table.
Yeah, just turn his head down. He could get sparked up right there. So how did this come about, y'all?
I was working in my shop one day, and Tommy was, as usual, if he was at the house, he was out at the shop with me. And he came to me, he had a piece of wood, and he said, Papa, I need you to cut me 4 pieces like this. And it was this particular piece right here.
Now, how old you reckon he was?
He was about 5 years old.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And he come back later, and he wanted some more four pieces cut, and then he wanted 1 piece cut, and then he wanted some nails, and so he started putting this together, and this became what I would call from 21 years ago that a young man was trying to mimic his grandfather. Mm-hmm. He built this, and we call this Sparky. This is Tommy's dog that he built in my shop.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take nothing for it.
He has his own place in the man cave.
Yes, that's right. He guards the man cave.
You don't have to clean up after him, do you?
Right.
He's housebroke.
No, that's right. I always thought Papa needed a dog. I always wondered.
That's it.
Because we grew up with dogs. Because we grew up we were dog hunters. So, and again, I'll reiterate, you don't hunt dogs when you're a dog hunter. You use dogs to hunt deer. Just to make sure people know we're not a bunch of crazies. But
we may be crazy.
Maybe a little bit, but not. We don't hunt dogs though. That don't make us crazy. Other things may. But I remember we'd always have 5 or 6 dogs, and for me, it was so uncommon for someone to not have a dog, especially when I grew up behind. Papa never had a dog, and I thought to myself, I was like, who needs a Papa needs a dog. So I made him a dog. But I remember as a little kid, I remember growing up, and one of my favorite things about going to Papa's house, other than building stuff, sometimes Papa was busy working on garage doors or doing other projects, so we wouldn't always build something every time I was over there. So what he would do is he did so much woodworking that he had trash cans full of sawdust. And I remember I would always ask him, because he would dump the sawdust or burn it or whatever, and then there'd be points, it'd be empty, and I'd always check in, hey, do we got any sawdust in the trash cans? And I'd run over there, and I don't know what was so intriguing. You couldn't do anything with the sawdust other than throw it in the air, I guess. For me, I remember just like the feeling of just reaching your hands in a big old giant trash can full of sawdust. That was like my favorite thing in the world going over to Papa's house.
That's cool. That's cool.
So what'd you ever do with that sawdust?
I just put it in my burn pit.
Just burn it?
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of this, just so y'all know, back in the day, you used to could build. Now they got to be certified, but we built garage doors for like fancy places like Rosemary Beach places.
30A?
Yeah, all on 30A. So him and his best friend Buddy Dice would build these doors for us. So we'd get the plans. Anyway, so most of this stuff that you're seeing that was made, or most every bit of it's made out of scrap mahogany. So this is probably worth about $35, $40, $50 right here.
Yeah.
At least.
I think other than the fact of that it was built, it's custom made.
Yep, custom made. I mean,
so
anybody want to buy Sparky, Daddy always told me.
He said he wouldn't take nothing for it.
Well, he did tell me that everything's got a price. So this is the first time I ever heard him say nothing has a price here. Unless like $2,500 may pull that sucker out of his hand.
I wouldn't get it.
Never mind then. Oh, that's good.
How much?
That's good.
How much did you say?
$2,500.
I'll sell it for you. I'll make you another one.
No, I want the original.
He wants the original.
I got you.
Well, Tommy will make you one as a 20. What are you, 26?
But I'll cut you a deal. We'll make you one for $2,100.
Yeah, $2,100 today.
Black Friday sale.
It'll be older Tommy.
Older Tommy.
Tommy.
But in 50 years, it'll be younger Tommy.
Right.
It'll be worth something in 50 years. Listen, this is an investment. This is an investment piece. Yeah. So, all right. So I want to go ahead and I want to segue because you're a sportsman. I'm not going to lie. And I don't say this just because you're sitting there. I tell people all the time, the best hunter I know, it don't matter. We're not after not necessarily quality. We're not looking for just the biggest bucks in the woods. We are after meat. You are the kind of person that says I'm here to fill the freezer. And I tell you, I think you've probably killed more deer than anybody I know. I don't say that to be to I don't know, maybe I'm not saying that out of arrogance. I'm not saying that out of pride. I'm saying that because like I don't know a hunter that just like you get it done. You are successful.
Yes.
And you're probably one of the toughest people I know because you sit all day and I can't do that. I can't sit all day.
Yeah.
So tell me, so I know that Dad said you started deer hunting a little bit when you were younger, and then y'all just started hunting together and kind of.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But tell us, tell us something about. So, how did you kind of get into the deer hunting?
Well, I was not privileged to come from a hunting or fishing family. My dad was a Pentecostal preacher, and his time was consumed with the congregation and seeking for those that were lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so he carried us fishing one time in my life, and we got stuck on the beach down at St. Joe Beach, and when we got pulled out, he said we're never coming back. And he was true to his word.
Yeah.
So we never came back, and but had a good bunch of guys that I worked with at the power plant, and some of them kind of took me under their wing, and I bought an old, well, it was new at that time, an old Sears single barrel 12 gauge, and that's what I started hunting with.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That was
Sears.
it was Ted Williams.
I don't even think
it was
there's
Ted Williams.
There's not even a Sears. I don't even think Sears is even still around.
It was a Ted Williams. It says Ted Williams Specials, what it was. So I remember this gun because that's what we used to call. Me and Jeff used to call it the Scatamus gun, because that was a turkey hunting, turkey shoot. If you went to a turkey shoot, you could win a turkey with that gun.
Yeah.
People get mad at you if you went with
right,
it.
that's right.
They're like, "Oh no, here comes." Yeah.
Some of them would want to borrow it. I said, well, if I'm going to loan it to you, then I'm not going to shoot in this round.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not going to shoot against myself.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So, it won quite a few turkeys and hams.
My goodness.
Yeah, that's funny stuff. Now, so you we went on and started hunting, and so what, what about the ducks? Remember the ducks? You shooting wood ducks? Tell me about the one you caught that time.
Well, it was one of the first times Sonny McIver, my brother-in-law, carried me duck hunting, and we were over at West Bay. And the first duck that I ever shot, he said, now you'll hear them before you see them. And he was right. I could hear that buzz coming. And I shot, and that bird went straight up and came down, and I actually caught that bird. It fell in my hands.
Yeah. My goodness.
And that I kind of thought, maybe that's the way it is every time, but that's absolutely untrue.
Not at all. Yes, that's why some people need dogs.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We won't go very far, so you don't go far. And we'll get a word from our sponsors. So we'll be right back in just a second. Today's sponsor is Creekside Outdoors and Farm Equipment over there in Vernon. Man, if y'all have any outdoor needs, if you're looking for any kind of hunting-related equipment, any kind of hunt-related tools, whatever that's corn, if it's hunting gear, if it's camouflage, if it's anything you could think of, cameras, they got what you need. Creekside Outdoors and Vernon. They also have agricultural products,
fishing products, all kinds of fishing stuff.
They got farming stuff. They got stuff for cattle. They got stuff, and if you're planting, they got seed for that, fertilizer, lime. I buy a lot of my fertilizer, lime, and seed from them. And I'll be honest with you, I planted a food plot this year, quite a few of them. The turkeys probably love the seed more than the ground did, because the ground didn't have an opportunity to grow anything I put down. I love turkeys up until probably about this year, and then I started saying to myself, man, maybe I need to get a lower quality seed so these turkeys don't want to eat it.
That's it.
Because I'm telling you, I didn't have a lick of seed left, but the seed that made it to the ground and the turkeys that did not come up and tear up my food plots, I'm telling you, it's so green and lush. It is probably one of the best food plots I've done ever in my life. So y'all go check them out. Next year, if you're into spring food plots, summer food plots, fall food plots, y'all go check them out. Go get some seed from them. Fertilizer and lime. They got great prices. I haven't found anybody in town that can beat their prices yet, and so that's why I'll continue to take my business to Creekside Farm and Outdoors. So they got fishing equipment. Listen, last thing I'm going to say about it, it's the Christmas season. Go do yourself a favor. Don't sit here and try to figure out what he wants, what she wants, whether it's hunting or what's something for your wife. They got just about everything you can think of. So go check them out. Go walk through the aisles, and I guarantee you'll find something for your significant other for Christmas. Make it easy this year. Don't spend too much time in the stores. Just go to Creekside Farm and Outdoors. They got what you need. All right. Well, that is our sponsor for today. And we are back. We're so glad that Creekside Farm and Outdoors wanted us to advertise for them. They're some good friends of ours, and we love supporting our friends, not only just our friends, but local companies, local businesses. I think shopping local is a very important thing to be able to support our community, and so I'm glad that we were able to do that for them today. But I want to jump back into the podcast. So we were talking about hunting before. We talked about some duck hunting. You what they call you Odell Beckham Jr. to a wood duck. You caught it one-handed.
That's it.
I think you missed your opportunity to probably be a college football player.
That's it. You missed
I
it.
wasn't big enough for that.
He almost went pro in softball. I remember when we played slow pitch softball. Papa had all the information about slow pitch. But slow pitch is fun. I just know I never played t-ball. I never played baseball, and so I went out just cold turkey. Decided I want to play a game that involved a bat, a ball, and a glove. And I'll be honest with you, they put me on defense in football. I was good at defense. I could hit hard. I could always generally put my hands on the ball. It's the catching part that got me. So they quickly removed me off a wide receiver. They said this kid's fast. He can juke. He can get open. But boy, can't catch a ball. So I had a guy one time, broke my heart, man. It broke my heart. He come up to me. It was back when y'all had that nutrition club in Callaway, and he grabbed my hand. And said, I told him I was a football player. I walk up to him and he said, hey, come here and let me look at your hands, which I thought was kind of a weird request, but I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. And so he come up, grabbed my hand, looked it over. He said, what position you play? I said, wide receiver. He goes, your hands are too small for that position.
Sorry about that, son. That's all my fault.
I got little hands, I guess. I don't. Yeah. I feel.
You're not going to catch a one-handed.
After he told me that, I felt like that Saturday Night Live skit where they got the little hands. And, you know, the lady, is it Judy? Is that
I don't remember.
Never heard that one anyway. No. So she got the little baby hands. That's what I feel like sometimes.
I don't know what it was.
But anyway, so I could bat a ball. My hands were too small to hit a ball down. So they kept me on defense. But Papa played some slow pitch and told me some different really cool stories about that. But let's jump into to some hunting stories. So I actually want to jump into the story of your biggest buck that you killed.
Oh yeah.
And that's a really fun story
because we were involved in that.
Yeah.
Before we start that, I want to put something in here. I was able to hunt some private land up on Cedar Creek, and I shot a deer one morning, and I was up there by myself, and so I called Scott, and I said, Scott, bring Tommy down here to where I'm hunting, and I want him to help me. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting on them, I tracked the deer, and when Tommy gets there, now he's about 6 years old, I guess, I said, now, Tommy, here's some blood. We need to track this deer. Now, as I said, I already knew where the deer was. So we would walk along. He said, here's some more blood, Pawpaw. And we tracked and tracked and tracked. And it crossed a little creek, and I picked him up and carried him across the creek. And the deer was about 30 yards from there in some sage grass. And so Tommy says, here's some more, Pawpaw. And so he's looking down, and he almost walked up on the deer. And he said, Here it is, Papa. Let's go find another one.
He didn't want to spend no time on the
No,
deer.
he didn't want to spend no time. He wanted to go find another
That's the
one.
best scavenger hunt ever.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
it's the
It
best
is.
A
scavenger
good
hunt.
tracker.
That's right. I hope I get to make one of those scavenger hunts in the morning. That'd be nice.
That would be nice for
That'd
sure.
be so nice. Maybe I'll call you up. You can help me out. You can help me look for some blood. We can turn it around. Man, that's
But the biggest buck, let's start out with, so we're in Georgia hunting. So me and Tommy, how old was you? Probably 7, 8 years old?
I'm probably
10?
8.
Anyway.
No, 10 makes sense to me.
Probably 10 years old. So we were sitting in a shooting house and we looking across this peanut field at the wood line, probably 300 yards to the other side. It looked like a long ways to me because I don't usually set up that very far shot. So it looked like 500 yards to me. But anyway, so you saw the deer first. You said, Dad, there's a buck.
This was probably, I would say this might have been the turning point in my life when I started to become a better hunter, I guess. I don't know. I guess I remember that was the same trip I shot that 3-point buck at about 185.
Is that the one we thought was a doe? I said, there's a doe, you shoot it.
There's a doe. And he's like, shoot it. So at 185, if anybody understands and can relate to this, at 185 yards, you take that shot. If it drops and it's what you think, if you think like, okay, that's a doe, or it's generally always does that this happens to. If you're like, okay, that's a doe, and you pull the trigger and that thing hits the ground, go ahead and bet it's got buttons or a little set of spikes on it.
That's it.
Does don't ever just hit the ground, ever. That's to my experience. Every time you walk up to them, they either got buttons, they got little tiny spikes.
So you gotta
in
look
this
very
case,
closely.
they got 6-inch 3-point set
It was
of
my
times.
fault. I should have seen him.
Well, it was so far away. I mean, you can't help sometimes when you're a dead eye shot, 200 yards.
That's it, old dead eye.
I missed a bunch of deer. That's like the past 2 episodes we talked about
But I
missing
remember,
tons of deer.
do you remember when he said this to me? He said, Daddy, I never miss. I thought, oh boy. That was like 3 or 4 deer in. I thought, boy.
I set myself up.
You
really
be disappointed
did.
one day.
I did.
You're going to miss.
I'll be honest with
I
you.
just knew
I've
it.
missed a lot less than I have made bad shots and never found. I'd rather miss one clean
Yeah.
than hit one
Right.
than
Oh,
hit
yeah,
one
me
and
too.
not
Me
find
too.
it. I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that. So, but I remember we were sitting in the shooting house on the opposite side of the field. So I shot that 3-point first couple sets on the opposite side of the field in this little 2-man ladder stand, and then we went and sat in the condo stand on the opposite side of the field a few days later.
Right.
And I remember sitting there, and it was getting dark, and I don't know what made you say this, but you're like, you ready to get out of here? You ready to get out? Just get down and go and head back. I remember thinking to myself, see, me and Papa would have the biggest collection. He'd have VHS tapes, and he'd have the biggest collection of VHS and DVD of Primos hunting and Buckmasters and all that, because you were part of the Buckmasters for a long time, and all that. So I remember we'd sit down and watch Will Primos, and we'd watch Jackie Bushman and all them boys killing bucks. And so in my mind, this is every time I went and said as a kid, even though we live in Florida, I never thought in my mind, we didn't live in the States, you couldn't kill a 150 to 160 inch buck almost every time you sat. I didn't know that. Every time I thought we were going to kill 12-point every time. I was so fired up. So, but I remember sitting there, and I remember you're like, "Are you ready to get out?" And I remember looking at you, and I was like, "Just hold on 1 second. I need to scan the field, make sure ain't no deer out there." And I sure enough, I picked that little sawed off 243 single shot because I had those. I guess I've got
on it. It had a 50 millimeter knock on
I guess I got little arms and little hands. So so as a kid, I remember I picked that gun up and I'm scanning the whole field, and all of a sudden I stopped and I said, Daddy, this is the biggest buck in my life I've ever seen at this point. Biggest buck. There he is. There's a giant buck.
I thought, now I know where I'm seeing.
You said you're like, are you serious? I remember you said no. I'm serious. I guess we tell too many jokes and too many yarns around the house because we
just done it last night. In fact, to me,
I did. So, but I remember looking through the scope, and you're like, oh, hold on. So you pick up the scope, and you're like, sure enough, that's a giant. That's a giant, big old 10-point. Oh, easily 150 inch. I mean, beautiful chocolate horn, heavy mass, little kicker right here at the base. I mean, just a beautiful buck. And I remember sitting there, and it was probably 300 yards, 250.
Well, that's what they said. It was 300 yards across that field.
Yeah, at the top, at the very top of the crest. I remember it was a shot.
Yeah.
And he was like a little speck inside my scope at the time. So I remember looking at him, and you were like, I remember thinking to myself, this is another Buckmaster moment come in, which honestly was probably the Lord, because if we would have done the next step of what you were anticipating we were going to do, probably wouldn't have worked out in the end. The story ends a lot better than this. So I remember you look at me like, do you just want to shoot at him?
I was going to get us to shoot at both of them, but both of them shoot at the same time. You know, you got two chances.
You're like, you just want to shoot at him. But here's the thing. Let's be honest.
Uh-huh.
If we'd have both shot, I mean, would you have let me claim that buck?
From history, experience, what do you think I'd have done?
I don't know.
I would have let you.
I feel like you're a great dad, but I'm telling you, that buck is so big.
It is nice,
It'd
but
be
I
hard not to lean over to my buddies and say,
10-point that I'd killed.
I'd say, well, Tommy's thing.
And that was bigger than my 10-point. But
he's huge.
Yeah.
And so I remember I looked at it and said, no, let's wait. He'll work his way in.
Yeah,
like just, I mean, listen to all these voices coming in from.
It looked like he was walking the back of the field, and if he was doing that, I was thinking like maybe he'll take a right and just walk down the side because he was in the corner. And what happened?
Yeah, I remember that's how it started, and then I remember, and I was like, he'll come around. You're like, okay, let's wait. So we sit there, and he eases off in the woods. He never come back out. He never come back out.
It got dark.
I remember thinking to myself, I do remember sitting there like,
we should have shot.
We should have shot.
Yep. Should have shot.
But it's good we didn't, because so now you got up the next morning, went set in the two stand, so the two-man
stand that you had shot, which was on the same side of the field.
So unfold that story, that part.
What happened there?
Well, I was sitting there, and I had a deer come up behind me out of a ravine, and I couldn't turn because there was really no camouflage around that two-man stand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, I'm just going to sit here till he comes out. And I look up, and here comes a monster. Yeah. The biggest deer I ever seen in the woods.
Yeah.
And he just gradually walked across the peanut field, and about halfway across, I just put the crosshairs on him, and I saw the hide on that deer move when that bullet hit him, and I knew I made a good shot, and I watched him, and he limped across and went out the left side of that field.
The same way ours went. The same way we went the day before when we didn't shoot.
This is the same buck.
Same exact buck. Yeah.
So I gave him a good 5 minutes.
Like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
You let him lay. You let him lay for 5.
I don't think I've ever shot a deer and waited 2 or 3 hours to go check on it.
No, maybe with a bow or something.
But anyway, I walked up behind that deer laying in the gallberry patch, and I just couldn't get over it, the size of it. And I walked around, and I looked down at that deer, and I said, God, I don't deserve this, but I sure do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wow.
And a few tears flowed.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, everybody that was hunting that field come over there where we were at. And long story short, he's on the wall in my den right now. So.
Yeah, he is.
I'll stick up a picture probably here in a second, or I might do it as a intro or an outro. I don't know. I'll probably do a set of photos just so everybody can kind of just see the history. But we for my son's birthday, we did a hunting themed birthday. It's easy. We called it the big one. And at that birthday, we had set up a wall of the biggest buck that Jonathan's killed, my dad's killed, my papa's killed, and myself, along with the 2-headed deer was up there. But it's a really cool picture just to see the biggest bucks that each one of us has killed, and that buck is on the wall. And that one, I remember to myself, it's really cool because, and I'll tell the story quick, is that I remember before we had Judah, I kept always with thought, because as a kid, I didn't have very many ambitions of dreams. Like I loved to hunt. I might have had a dream of what my dream job would be, and actually I get to do that now. I've been very blessed, and the Lord has been very gracious to me and to allow me to do that. So, but I remember one thing I wanted to do before I had a baby was I needed a buck that my kid could look up to and say, I want a buck like Dad's got on the wall. And so, because you had a buck like that and you had a buck like that, and I wanted to be like you two guys, so I needed a buck. And even as a 22, 23-year-old, I was like, I want a buck on the wall that my son can look up to, because I understood that. And when we have a baby, I'm not gonna be able to go as much as I thought or I used to. And so, I remember I finally killed that big buck. But I remember I told myself I don't want to have a baby until I kill a big buck. And I killed a big buck, and then a year later we had a kid. So it worked out. The time
and that was a giant you killed.
Yeah,
too. And I got to be there for that experience myself too.
It is such a surreal moment.
Yeah.
To when you seek one, that Lee Ellis, the guy on Seek One, he talks a lot about honoring the moment and just kind of soaking in the moment, but also honoring. Like I read something the other day, and it says that your trophy is their life, and so in that moment, you take that in, you give respect to the hunt, the kill, the animal, but also, man, there's just this overwhelming feeling when you walk up on that big buck, and it's just tears do flow.
Yeah.
And I remember all I could do was just pray.
I remember I was there when we found the deer, and it was really something.
If you're serving God and you can't be thankful of that, you need to reevaluate things.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times the roles can be out of order, and sometimes if you're not cautious, see, there's this beautiful experience that you have whenever you're serving the Lord and your heart is pursuing Him, and you get an opportunity to have a moment like that.
Yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful moment because you have a beautiful moment with nature. You're recognizing the moment. You're recognizing the blessing of God. It's not the moment I'm not teared up because I killed a giant buck. It's more so that God was so gracious to me to allow me to have this moment with my dad, moment in the woods, a moment with just such a beautiful creation. But there's a point, honestly, a lot of hunters miss such a beautiful opportunity because they may not be serving the Lord. And the feeling of content, the feeling of affirmation, and all that stuff comes from that deer, but they're missing out on such a beautiful experience with the Lord, and just an opportunity because their whole life is in pursuit of chasing a feeling that only God can give you, and sometimes people try to find that in a deer hunt, and you can't.
Yeah, because the next day you'll be looking for another one. And you forgot about that blessing of the day before. Which one's next?
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I someone not too long ago, I'm about to go on a hunt with a really close friend of mine, and he was telling me, we're talking about hunting, and he said, well, man, I hope we kill something. I told him, I said, honestly, for me, I've killed a lot of deer in my life. I don't say that out of arrogance, but I say that just to be honest, and I've killed a few deer in my time, and a part of that to me, I told him, I said, the ones I remember the most is the ones I've had the most time into. The time I spent with my dad, the time I spent with my granddad, the time I spent with my family on the hunting trip.
Yeah.
And then it concluded in the kill.
Yeah.
And that's what made the memory. But I've went and sat many a times in a tree stand, no memories, no experience, just pulling the trigger, killing a deer, put him in the back of the truck. And I remember those moments less. I remember smaller bucks with more experience with my family and friends than I ever do remember with bigger bucks with not having anybody else around and doing it by myself. And that's not near as fun and enjoyable. The memory is in the moments leading up to the kill.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what makes a good memory.
Yeah.
So
I remember me and Scott and John and Tommy, we went on a trip to a plantation up in Georgia, and I remember filling the truck up with gas, and I told them, I was standing there in the doorway of the truck, and I said, guys, let's remember this. This is a trip that very few people ever get to take, and we may not be able to do it again, whether it be because of health or death or just it didn't produce an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think we cherished that trip more than any trip we've ever been on.
That's right.
And, we killed some deer, but it wasn't about the deer. It was about the experience.
Yeah. Man, that's so good. So what I want to do is before we, I'm going to I'd say what we do is we close this moment out right here as a podcast. Close it out. Maybe take a few more minutes because I know we got a couple more stories to share. We're pushing time. Maybe stopping this one, concluding this episode, and then maybe make a part 2 for in a couple weeks. People can listen to it. It can be a shorter episode. It doesn't have to be as long. Yeah. But I know we got some stories that haven't been told. So what I want to do is today, Papa, I want to do that on this episode and the next one, is I'd like you to close us out in prayer. And I've said this before in the last podcast. See, this to a lot of people might just be a podcast. You can have a laugh. You can hear some really cool stories. My life is my job. God has given us instruction to go ye into all the world, preach the gospel to every creature, go make disciples of all men, of all nations, and then as well as I'm to be a living sacrifice unto God, holy and dedicated unto Him. And so my job in my life is to be a representation of Christ, to be a light to the world, like a city set upon a hill. And so though this podcast is enjoyable, it's fun. We have a good time, and I hope that you have enjoyed good, clean humor, good, clean just stories, and just cutting up and just telling some good old stories. All the stories have been true today, which has been phenomenal. That's been good.
Well, and another thing too, just to put on that, this is the man that planted that seed in my life, and was Jesus to me all throughout growing up, and that's what transferred it to the next generation too. So
I heard something the other day. Someone said, and I've heard this my whole life, you may be the only Jesus that anybody gets to see in their life.
That's it.
You may for a short time, hopefully, be the only Bible that they ever get to read. It just because you're living out what the Word of God says, and they get to see
being
that.
read of all men.
Yep. And so I would say is I hope that today, if you had a feeling in your heart, something tugging at you, and something about us, something about our stories and our testimonies and things that we've said today has inspired you or tugged at your heart, and you're curious about what's different about us, is it's because of what dwells and lives within us is the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God. It's because we invited Jesus as our Lord and Savior. We invited Him into our lives to change us, to wash us clean, and to make us one with Him, and for Him to adopt us into the body of Christ. And so today, that gift can be yours. That gift is free. The gift is free, and all you have to do is say yes and give God give God the time, give God the honor Him, honor the sacrifice He made on that cross. Today can be the day that your life can change forever.
Yes.
Forever. So, Papa, what I want you to do is if you can pray over the audience, people listening, maybe God have an opportunity with them to God give them an opportunity for them to maybe experience Him for the first time and maybe give their life to Him, but also just pray a blessing over the listeners. And so we'll go from there, and I'll let you close us out.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank You for this day that You've given us. I thank You for these men that are sitting beside me. I thank You for the lives that they have lived before other people. There have been chances that we didn't take to exemplify You, and I ask God forgiveness of that. But I ask now, God, that You go with us, You guide us. Every person that's listening to this podcast, I pray, God, that You tug at their hearts if they don't know You. I pray, God, that You would let them see a need for You in their life. I pray, God, that You would help us to uplift Your name in all that we do as we go from this place. I ask, God, that You bring us back again to the next podcast, that once again people can see You in our lives, and we give You the praise, the honor, and the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. If you enjoyed today's podcast, y'all go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching, go and follow us on Spotify. Go follow us on Apple Podcast. Your support helps us to be able to do the next episodes. And so if you don't want to miss the next episode, click the bell, click the reminder, turn on your notifications in the apps, and so you don't miss the next episodes of I Ain't Even Lyin podcast. We're so glad you came by today, and we'll hope to see you in a couple weeks.
And we thank you for visiting with us today.
Thank you.